My name is Natrinda Justus. I welcome you to this lesson of religious education. The Spirit makes us free. It's our topic. The Spirit makes us free. It's our topic of today. We are going to look at freedom and authority as a subtopic of this topic. Freedom and authority as subtopic. We have to look at the meaning of authority, freedom, and power. The meaning of authority, freedom, and power. To begin with, authority is having control or power over other people. Freedom, authority is having control or power over other people. Control or power over other people. That is authority. When you have power to the people, over some people, and those people are able to obey what you tell them, we can say that you have what we call authority. Then we have freedom. Freedom is not being under control of someone else. You control yourself. No one can stop you from doing what you want. You are free to do it. Then you have freedom. We have freedom of movement. You are free to move. You have a right to move. Freedom of movement. No one can stop you from moving. That is freedom. You have that right. Then we have freedom of worship. Though you as children, that freedom doesn't belong to you. But people, mature people, have freedom of worship. They can go to any religion of their choice. Let's say some are Catholics, some are Protestants, some are Muslims. They choose where they want to belong. So that is freedom of worship. Freedom of association. People are free to join groups of their wish. Are free. Take an example of political parties in our country, Uganda. People are free to associate with members of National Resistance Movement. People are free to associate with the members of Forum for Democratic Change. People are free to associate with members of Uganda People's Congress as political parties. Freedom of association, they have membership of their will. They choose to belong to that group. So they can associate at any time of their wish. Freedom of association. We have so many ways people in Uganda, people in Africa express themselves freely. They are not under control of anybody. Therefore, those people have freedom. Then we have power. We have power. Ability to control other people. That's what we call power. Ability to control other people. That's what we call power. When we check from the Bible, the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 26, God himself gave people power after creating them. He gave them power over the people, over the domestic animals, over the wild animals, over the fish, over the birds. God gave them power to control them. So Adam and Eve were given power to control all other creatures. When we read that verse 26, Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, God himself gave them power over other creatures. So that is the power. Ability to control people. Not only people, ability to control other things. Nowadays, you have phones. You control your phone. You have computers. You have power over your computer. Because you can control it and you search for what you want. So you have power over other things, over other people. Then we have types of authority or forms of authority. There are many forms of authority, as we are going to see in this lesson. One, we have what we call divine authority. We have what we call divine authority. That authority, it is special from other forms of authority because it is possessed by only God Himself. It is possessed by only God Himself. There is not any other person, any other creature which has such authority, divine authority. It is possessed by only God. This form of authority, it is the one God used to create the universe. It is the one God used to create the universe. When you read Genesis chapter 1 verse 3, Genesis chapter 1 verse 3, God Himself used words, just words. When you go to verse 1, the word was formless. But when you go to verse 3, God Himself, He commanded using words, let there be. Let there be. God used such words and said, let there be light. God commanded light to appear. And light appeared. Let there be light. And light appeared. That was divine power. And after God saw what He had created, light, He was very happy with light He created using the word, let there be divine authority. And God was pleased with light He created, and He separated it. Light, that is daytime, and darkness, that is nighttime. And God was happy after expressing His divine authority, which is owned by Himself only. Divine authority is everlasting. It has no end. Is everlasting. It has no end. God has no end. And that is authority which is possessed by only God Himself. The authority God used to create the universe. The authority which is everlasting, which is possessed by only God Himself. No one owns divine authority apart from God. No one owns divine authority apart from God. Another type of authority, we have apostolic authority. Apostolic authority is a type of authority Jesus gave to the universal church. Jesus is the founder of the church, and Jesus gave authority which is called apostolic authority to the universal church. To the universal church. When you read the Gospel according to Matthew, chapter 28, as it ends, when Jesus appeared to His disciples after resurrection, He gave them authority to go and baptize people in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, and also in the name of the Holy Spirit. Jesus gave them authority, that power, to go and carry out His activities. That authority is what we call apostolic authority. As we are going to continue, we are going to see that this type of authority, it is the type of authority today church leaders use to baptize people, to heal the sick, cast out demons, to do all church activities, to interpret the Bible. It is that authority church leaders today, religious leaders today use to baptize people. It is owned by Jesus only, but it is the authority Jesus gave to the universal church, my dear candidates. Then another type of authority, we have marital authority. We have marital authority. In our homes where we come from, we are under people. We have parents at home, mom, dad. We have elder brothers. We have young brothers, young sisters. We have aunties. We have grandparents. So they are there where we come from. But each person there has authority over one another. So this marital authority, specifically when you go to the family setup, especially the nuclear family, where you find father, mother, and their biological children. This is authority parents have over their wives. Authority parents have, authority husbands have over their wives, and vice versa. Authority husbands have over their wives, and vice versa. Which means it is the same authority wives have over their husbands. It is the same authority wives have over their husbands. And likewise, it is the same authority parents have over their children. It's the same authority parents have over their children. They exercise authority and power over their children. So that authority is called marital authority. Then we have another type of authority which is called civil authority. In our communities where you come from, my dear candidates, we have leaders who are voted to become leaders, and leaders maybe who are appointed to become leaders. But they are leaders, and once chosen as leaders, they exercise power, authority over their subjects, over the people they lead. So this type of authority, which is called civil authority, it is authority leaders have over the people they lead. Last time, my dear candidates in this school, train up a child, you voted for your prefects. Those prefects were voted by you. Those who won elections, they became leaders. And after becoming leaders, they took an oath. Last time, the service was led by our pastor. They took an oath. And they promised to serve us as our leaders. We did not promise to serve them. Themselves, they promised to serve us as our leaders. But they have authority over you, people who chose them through elections. So that authority is called civil authority. We have other leaders like RDC, Resident District Commissioner is our leader. We have police officers, are leaders. So such people, they have authority over the people they lead. So that type of authority is called civil authority, my dear candidates. Then we have other types of authority. We have other types of authority like satanic authority and symbolic authority. You may wonder, satanic authority, how comes satanic authority? It is a form of authority. As we go on, we shall say that all forms of authority comes from God. And here we have satanic authority. It is an authority possessed by Satan and those under him. It is a form of authority possessed by Satan and all those people under Satan. They have satanic authority. My dear candidates, you have ever heard an angel was called Angel Lucifer. So this angel Lucifer was given an opportunity to be a lead in heaven. He was in charge of music, in charge of choir. But angel Lucifer became stubborn, that's what I can tell you. Became stubborn and wanted to be as great as God. And God could not accept that. So angel Lucifer said, it's better to go in the world and I become a king other than serving in heaven. Remember, angels in heaven have God. But angel Lucifer said, it's better to go in the world and become a king other than serving in heaven. And God was not pleased with angel Lucifer. So God decided to use his divine power, divine authority, to chase away Satan from heaven. and Satan came into this world, and it started claiming for things like people claiming them. You are my people, Satan calls them. You have ever heard witch doctors in our communities? Witch doctors, those are people who do evil, who bewitch others. They have what we call satanic authority. They have what we call satanic authority. It is very dangerous because it brings curse on people, it brings shame on people, imprisonment, punishments on people. So this authority, which is called satanic authority, possessed by Satan and other people under him. It is very dangerous, my dear candidates. It's very bad. It brings evil. It's not good to possess such a type of authority. Then we have symbolic authority. We have symbolic authority. This is authority possessed by people who use symbols like the Bible, the national constitution, the national coat of arms, and other symbols leaders use to show power and authority. So that type of authority is called symbolic authority. My dear candidates, we are continuing in this interesting lesson. We have values of authority or importance of authority. We have authority is used to keep law and order. Authority is used to keep law and order. Who are the people in our communities who keep law and order? I have said right from the start that leaders have authority. And for example, police officers. We know police officers. Traffic police officers. We have them, we know them. So their role as leaders is to keep law and order, to maintain law and order. By doing that, they are serving the people. As we are going to see in the Bible, they are serving the people. Leaders are called to serve people. Leaders are the servants. For example, prefects in this school are the servants of this school. So people like the leaders, like the police officers, help to keep law and order. They use their authority to keep law and order. Then authority is used to lead others. Authority is used to lead others. Is used to guide others. So people in position, people who have authority, they use their power and authority to guide and take other people in the right direction. To lead other people to take a right direction. By doing that, we say that authority helps to lead people, to lead others. Then, like church leaders who have apostolic authority, they use that authority to forgive, to heal the sick. They use that authority to heal the sick through prayer. Through prayer. We have ever attended services where pastors, where priests, and other people with the gift of healing, where they pray for others, where they pray for the sick, where they pray for the lame, and all those patients get healed. So they use that authority which is called apostolic authority. So authority is used to heal the sick. At the same time, authority is used to forgive sins. Authority is used to forgive sins. Last time we looked at a woman who was found committing adultery, whom Jesus used apostolic authority to forgive the sin of committing adultery. Likewise today, our religious leaders use authority to forgive sins. Then we have casting out demons, chasing demons from people. You know, people who are possessed with demons, they have what we call satanic authority. They don't know what they are doing because they are possessed. They are possessed by the devil. They are controlled by the devil. So for them to be free from that, they need prayers. And those people who are free to pray for others and they get healed, and they chase out demons. They have what we call apostolic authority. And when they pray for others, remember, Jesus is more powerful than Satan. So Jesus chases Satan away from those people, chases demons away from those people. So by so doing, we say that authority helps to cast out demons or to chase demons from people. Then authority is used to make laws or the constitution. Authority is used to make laws or the constitution. Remember, our members of parliament, after collecting views or ideas from the people, they go and sit in the parliament and make the constitution. They are able to do it because they have authority. They have power to debate, to discuss, and come out with laws which can be used to govern a country. Even in our localities, right from chairperson LC1, he or she sits with members and they come out with bylaws which are used to govern our localities, our villages. So they are able to do it because they have authority. My dear candidates, Jesus himself talked about authority. So we have to look at biblical teaching on authority. What does the Bible teach on authority? Is the Bible encouraging people with authority to own the authority? Does the Bible discourage? What is the source of authority according to the Bible? This is the source of authority. Point number 1. All authority comes from God. God is the source of authority. God is the source of authority right from the start of the universe. God created the universe using divine authority, using the word, let there be. All other things were created using the word, let there be, except people, where God said, let us create. Let us create them in our own image. So all authority comes from God. Whoever has authority, whoever is in position, whoever is a leader has authority. According to the school setup, head teachers, principals, deputies, secretaries, teachers, prefects, all of them, they have authority. But what they own as authority comes from God. Then the leaders should serve people they lead. Leaders should serve people they lead. Leaders should serve people they lead. When you read the Gospel according to Mark, chapter 10, starting from verse 42 to 45, you read that Jesus encouraged leaders to serve, but not to be served. And my dear candidates, before I conclude, we are going to read the Gospel according to Mark chapter 10, verse 42 to 45. Leaders should serve people they lead. Leaders should give freedom to their people. Their people should not be slaves. Their people should not take their leaders as enemies. They should know that their leaders are there to serve them, and also as people under those leaders, they should know that they have to behave well towards their leaders. So we are going to read the Gospel according to Mark chapter 10 from verse 42 to 45. The Gospel according to Mark chapter 10 from verse 42 to 45. The Gospel according to Mark chapter 10 verse 42 to 45. It reads, So Jesus called them all together to him and said, You know that those who are considered rulers of the heathen have power over them, and the leaders have complete authority. This, however, is not the way it is among you. If one of you wants to be great, he must be the servant of the rest. And if one of you wants to be first, he must be the slave of all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served. He came to serve and to give his life to redeem many people. The gospel of the Lord. So from the reading we have read that leaders are called to serve, but not to be served. Jesus gave himself as an example that he came to serve, but not to be served. And that's why he gave his life to redeem the world, to save the world from the sin. Jesus gave out his life as a good leader, as a servant of all, to redeem the world. So from this lesson we should know that leaders are in position to serve, but not to be served. So leaders should do their responsibilities without expecting any pay. The reading we have heard from the reading that leaders are called to be slaves. A slave is a person who is forced to work for someone without payment. So leaders are called to serve, not only serve just aiming at getting a pay, but also to serve as their role and their responsibility. So my dear candidates, you are called upon in your future to become leaders. And once you become a leader, remember to serve. Remember to serve. My dear candidates, in the next lesson, we are going to learn ways leaders today misuse authority. Ways leaders today misuse authority. We are going to discuss that. And what does the Bible say about misusing authority? My dear candidates, this marks the end of this lesson. I remain Channel Trinda Justus from Train Upper Child Schools, Najana Nkumbi campus. We meet next time.